Out onto the sand and glanced right and then left. The adjacent cabins were dark and silent. Palms rustled overhead, and a tinny cha-cha beat came from the direction of the beach club. The boys had tuned in Radio Trinidad on their battery set. No doubt the cleaning women had already locked themselves in their shack and Joss would be drunk. Nobody would know. Nobody would care. Salt-crested grass crunched beneath her feet as she walked toward the sea. She thought of Frost on the churchyard on Sunday morning, walking in patent leather shoes with her mother and father on either side, smelling respectively of perfume and shaving lotion. Then the odor of ancient varnish biting her nostrils, and the wood-musty smell of the songbook in her hands. She had loved to sing hymns, sending her voice out among the others and having it return 100-fold. She liked that. And the part about casting your bread upon the waters. Her mind returned to the aching stiffness in her joints. Railroad vines snatched at her bare ankles as she walked toward the phosphorescent surf. When she reached the sand, she kicked off her sandals and walked barefoot. Once she'd loved to feel warm sand against her feet. Now it was only an irritation. And even the air felt unpleasant on her face, like spiders crawling. Her nose ran and her eyes watered. She had a terrible awareness of the flesh clinging to her bones, of each joining of cartilage, muscle, and tissue, of her brain lying overhead, each movement causing pain to flare up behind her eyes. Hate my body, hate it, hate it, hate it. The sea lay like a pall of smoke, inviting. The prickly weight of the bathrobe was gone. She left the clothing lying on the sand like dead skin, diseased and discarded. The water was exactly the temperature of the air. It was a pressure on her legs and no more. She stumbled over a rock and barnacles gouged her knees like cinders. She climbed over the reef, felt the coral cut into her feet, and told herself it didn't matter. The sea was high. A wave swelled up, towered overhead, then collapsed and buried her in greenness. It wasn't water. It was raw force, tearing her apart, lifting her body high and slamming it down, dragging her across an object which raked her body with long, sharp claws, then leaving her to gasp on the reef. It lifted her again, higher and higher, swinging her in a silken hammock. She relaxed, feeling relief from the pull of muscle in her shoulders, stomach, and chest. She drew in a deep breath and waited for her lungs to fill with water. Air came in. She opened her eyes and found herself on the sand. A bubbling carpet of surf came forward, buried her, and left her again. Oh, I didn't know it was so hard to drown. If only I could swim, I could go far out. She was tired. She lay there and let the air dry her body. After a time, she rose and dressed. The surf teased, bubbling forward, hissing back. Back at the cabin, she carried the lamp into the bathroom. She smelled the salty, musty odor of old swimsuits and heard the drip, drip, drip of the shower head which hung like a drooping, rusty blossom. She set the lamp on the low stand beside the wash basin and peered at the warped and mottled image in the mirror. She felt a curious, cold detachment toward herself. The upward glow of the lamp shadowed her forehead with the arch of her brows, unplucked and heavy in the center. Her nose seemed long and thin, and the white crescent scar on its tip looked more prominent than ever. Her wet hair lay flat on her skull and framed her narrow face like a cowl. High cheekbones shaded her eyes, and the line of her jaw lent her